One day I noticed an ad stating that people were needed to patrol the Catacombs of Paris. So I was kind of hesitant, but it was creepy and I hate that kind of stuff, but I was skeptical anyway. And I needed money. Paris rent and prices were higher back then. So anyway, I interviewed, passed, and began my job, which was basically to help maintain the area of the catacombs that were closed off to the public. Of the 200 miles, only 1 mile is open for people to visit, but the rest needed to be somewhat maintained to make sure that nothing collapses, etc. Another worker, Valentine, introduced himself to me on my first day and said that he was assigned to train me on what my job was. A lot of it involved cleaning graffiti off walls, making sure there were no leaks, and that the walls were in good condition. No risk of collapsing. Overall, my job covered roughly 5 miles of the catacombs, that area closest to the public. Something important to note is that once you leave the public area, it is very easy to get lost. If you're not careful, you could turn the wrong way and never find your way out, and you're on your own. Therefore, French health and safety laws state that I must attach myself to a rope at the front door of my work site to help me find my way back at the end of my shift. Once my training with Valentine was finished, he returned working to the public areas. Before he left, though, I remember him saying,
"Watch yourself in these tunnels, okay? Don't forget, you're a trespasser here."
Weird, but whatever. I actually surprised myself by not actually finding it that weird, being surrounded by millions of human bones day in and day out. I got into a niche routine, arriving at 9 a.m., descending into the tunnel, my MP3 player, packed lunch, warm coat, and thick boots. There was actually a lot to do that kept me occupied, and I didn't have much time to think about where I really was. Until one day, it started as a typical day. I turned up in the morning and went to my tunnel. I know that sounds weird. Attached myself to an incredibly long rope and entered, pulling the door closed behind me so the public couldn't enter. I had a heavy-duty flashlight that became my best friend, and with it, I set off to inspect a leak I had discovered the day before. Headphones in and music blaring, I started my journey, which would end almost at the end of my work zone. I got about 1.5 miles, and I paused my music. In the sudden silence, I could hear Valentine calling my name. Shit, I hope he hadn't been looking for me for long. I turned around to reply and heard in his direction when I noticed something, that the rope had been cut. There was no sign of it anywhere. Crap. I called out to Valentine in a panic, desperately, hoping this was some kind of sick joke he was playing on me. After the 5th time I said his name, I was greeted with laughter. A lot of laughter. From a lot of people. It came out of nowhere. It filled the whole space, and I ran in a blind panic in the direction I had originally came in. I dropped my MP3 player, but not giving a damn, I ran for what felt like forever. The sound of laughter surrounding me, almost chasing me, but I knew I couldn't stop. After running for must have been like 20 minutes, I rounded a corner and stopped dead in my tracks. My MP3 player was laying in the middle of the path where I had dropped it 20 minutes before. This wasn't possible. I had run in the same direction and definitely didn't do a circle. These tunnels don't work like that. I slowly approached the player, my breath caught in my throat. I almost reached it when the laughter stopped suddenly, and a sound behind me made me turn around. I turn, and I am faced with something that I still feature in my dreams today. A thin, long creature was approaching me from the shadows, contorting its body, almost dancing across the pillars of bone stacked against the walls. I couldn't move. I felt like it was literally glued to the spot, staring at this thing. Its naked body was impossibly pale. It had a head full of black, soggy hair. Its eyes were white and void of any detail, and it was grinning. It was grinning at me in a way I knew it was out to hurt me. The closer it got, the louder the sounds it was making were. It wasn't Valentine whispering my name. It was this thing. It was chanting, faster and faster with every move it makes, until its nose is pressed to mine. I woke up in a hospital, surrounded by worried faces. My parents had flown over from England with my younger siblings. Apparently the other workers in the catacombs got alerted when I didn't clock out of my shift that evening. When they went down to investigate, they found a door to my tunnel wide open and the rope severed next to it. A huge search party was launched and they found me 75 miles away, unconscious and covered in a weird, black, tar-like substance. When one of our big bosses of the catacombs spoke to me with the police to find out what could have happened, I mentioned for the first time that I heard a voice that I thought could have been Valentine. I was met with a confused face. Apparently nobody worked there who was named Valentine. They asked around the team and nobody had shown me around on my first day or trained me up. They all assumed my team member had done it. By my team member, I mean the person who was supposed to work with the tunnel, as per health and safety rules. However, upon research, they discovered that nobody had actually been assigned to work with me. I should have never been alone in those tunnels. I don't know what happened that day. I haven't been back since. Apparently, whenever maintenance is needed, they now send a team of at least 15 people to do it. One thing that still worries me to this day is I know I closed the door behind me when I entered the tunnel. The other workers found it open. For the past 5 nights, I have been woken up to the sounds of laughter outside my bedroom window, and the sounds of my name being chanted.